the panel discussion, the importance of learning and development in your professional career. Allow me to introduce our moderator for this session, So Yun Kang, Head, Regional Engagement and Manager, Chapter Development of PMI Asia Pacific. Together with her, we have three panelists. Ng Jun Lee, Industry Engagement Manager, Singapore Polytechnic. Geeta Gopal, Head Infrastructure Projects Delivery and Digital Transformation, Panasonic Asia Pacific. Janelle Delaney, Partner, IBM Consulting. The panel will be taking questions in this session. Please do feel free to use the chat box to send in your questions. Happy learning!
Hello, I think we're live. So good morning, good afternoon, and evening, everyone. As Sylvia introduced, Suhan from PMI Asia Pacific, located in Singapore. So today I'm very happy to moderate an exciting session with the three great industry and academy leaders, Janelle and June and Geeta, to learn about how they made the progress about their career development and what's the secret sauce. So I'd like you to introduce about yourself, just a brief name and company. Already Sylvia mentioned a brief description about your role in your company. So can I ask you, Geeta, first?
Hi, everyone. My name is Geeta Gopal, and once again, thanks to PMI for inviting me to another session. It's always a privilege to be part of events like this. I work for Panasonic. I'm the head of infrastructure projects delivery and digital transformation. And I specialize in large programs like strategic investments, data centers, network transformations, digital transformations, and so on. I've also been very fortunate to be named as one of PMI's Future 50 Leaders for 2020. So I'm happy to be here today to share my experiences and thoughts on this topic.
Thank you. Thank you, Geeta. And what about you, Janelle?
Hi, I'm Janelle Delaney. I'm from IBM. I'm a partner in our IBM Consulting division. I've been in IBM for a very long time, over 30 years. My current role is as a delivery excellence leader for Asia Pacific for IBM Consulting, which is all about making sure that we deliver our projects with quality. So, of course, project managers are a very, very key part of that. So I'm also our Asia Pacific PM profession leader as well.
Thank you, Janelle. I saved a very important thing for last, June.
Hello, hi, my name is June Lee. I'm one of the senior lecturer from the Singapore Polytechnic, the School of Business. So what I do, aside from lecturing, is that I lead a passionate team of colleagues who are industry facing. So what do? We work very closely, stay close to the ground, bring in projects, contribute to the industry, make sure it's current, it's relevant. We also do adult training, for the industry, and that to help them in specific areas, for example, like HR transformation, we even do things like RPA. That's just to ensure that all the companies, especially the SME within Singapore, are current and really updated. Yeah.
Thank you for the nice intro. The key word I heard is relevant for the industry in your role. So I'd like to ask a first question to you, June.
Yes.
Since you have all the views and you're in a position to the both industry and the academic area, can you tell us more about what's the learning and development trends that you see happening in this VUCA world around the world, and how can businesses face these challenges or empower the opportunities?
Thank you for that. Really the L&D trends have always been evolving, but definitely with COVID-19, it really forces and it put that start to virtual learning. So this is two things about the trend. Definitely, number one, it's about the medium. Meaning the way the companies want the training to be like, and two, it's about the topic. So when we talk about the medium, it's definitely virtual. But the thing is, interestingly, 2 years on onwards, people, talk about fatigue, online fatigue. I'm sure we all agree, yeah. And that is the irony of it all. So recently, maybe for the last, especially 9 months or so, we have been having many requests, from companies who want us to do training for them, especially they want a hybrid. And what do we mean by a hybrid? Instead of a pure, just virtual training that starts from 9 and ends at 5, we do a bit of hybrid, meaning to say that we give them a little bit of time. Like how do we do that? Like self-directed learning. For example, you can take your own time to do self-directed learning for half of the day. And then the next half of the day, it's all about virtual learning. And this virtual learning, again, it's not just about theories, it's not just about learning. I mean, in this day and age, we do a lot of reading. So what do we really want? We want it to come alive. But coming alive virtually, it's also another challenge. So the trend now is really to use a lot of apps, a lot of different platforms to get people to participate, get them to move, get them to communicate and mix around within the training platform itself. So that's one of the what do you call the trends among this learning right now. There's also another trend is like learning on the go. You don't just have to sign up for a particular workshop that your company supports you. The other trend is that people feel empowered that they have different mediums and they explore, and even different startups are beginning to set up their own different platforms to encourage people to learn with them. So for example, there are learning apps that could be, of course, exclusive to the company, and company feel empowered that they can pick and choose from different platforms and put it in the app that open up to the staff that they can learn on a daily basis. Then the other thing is, of course, on a subscribe platform that company can have the choice, the decision to pick what they want to learn, and as well as for their staff, what they want to learn. So these are the few interesting learning trends that we see nowadays. Another trends that we see is companies don't just want to have skills training anymore. In fact, they come to us for this company. It's that they want something that is on well-being. They want something that is on mental health. They want something that it's a quick pick me up, for their staff members. So skills, they know that a lot of companies probably have a lot of subject matter expert that can reskill and upskill, their employees. But really, it's that mental burnout, it's the well-being that the company are very concerned about. So that's one of the very big and interesting topics that a lot of companies are looking at, and even academics like myself. I was just sharing that before I come to this, I just conducted 4 hours of positive psychology, with the students, and companies are coming to us, how can we ensure there is positive psychology, among their staff members nowadays, not just that they're good in what they do, that they also have a platform, that they're aware and they know how to manage themselves while they're working. So that's really about the trend and what companies are really doing nowadays. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing the really great insight. In fact, we also try to explore different platform for this event with the chose Air Meet and try to make it. This is online, but we hope to make it hybrid in the future.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that's a really great. So thank you, June. And I think thinking about the staff mental health, so well-being is one of the great things that product managers needs to look into. Not only about the delivery, the Gantt chart, so that's the new norm. Thank you, June. And I have a next question for you, Gita. So you are from Panasonic. What's the important skill set for project managers as a change makers? Especially in nowadays, all the projects are for changing in the digital DX era. How do you or project managers create learning opportunities for themselves or their team? Can you share some experience from your company or maybe from your career?
Sure. I see two questions there. The first one is what is the important skill set, and the second one is how do we create learning opportunities? Like, let's
Yes.
yeah, let me share my thoughts on them separately. So the first point is what is the important skill set? This is very much aligned. I'm very much aligned, with what June just mentioned, right? Positive psychology, and in project management, at least if you ask me define project management, I always say it's like doing the right things. And as long as you do the right things, logical things, rational things as per things which are right, you will always get your projects right, you'll get the support of your stakeholders, and you'll get things going. So that's what project management is about. But now, in a world where we are living, which is very dynamic, which is very uncertain, and people have a lot of problems that we didn't have 2 years ago, so it's a very volatile world, I would say. So in this scenario, I feel empathy is a very important skill set that we must, not just project leaders, everyone for that matter, even team members, leaders, everyone should have empathy, should approach their team, approach their projects, approach their members in an empathetic way. Why do I say that, right? We work virtually now mostly, and we when we are in a physical environment together, we at least sense people's emotions, energies. We kind of have that as a natural inborn ability. We can sense what the other person's energy is like, the mood is like. But when we are working virtually, we don't know what's really happening to the other person, what's happening in his house, what's happening in his environment, or how is his mental state, and so on. So that's why I feel that it's very, very important, on top of doing the right things, to also see things empathetically, to understand what is happening in the lives of our team members. Due dates and deadlines alone don't matter anymore. It's also how confident, how strong our team is behind those screens to do the work that we are planning to do. This is something that leaders have to always watch out. I feel that's what that I'm trying to practice myself. I have a virtual team across the region now. Most of them I haven't seen for a long time now, and this is how we communicate. We ensure that we have trust with each other, and and so on. So it's not just about doing the right things, but looking at people as people, because now is the time when we need it most, I feel. That's the first point about what is the important skill set, at least at this point of time. Then the second thing is, how do we create learning opportunities? Like, also June touched on how they enable virtual learning, how they enable adapt to hybrid learning now. I think that's given now. With the last 2 years, even in my organization, we have moved out of classroom based training because they don't make sense anymore, they're not relevant anymore. So we have switched to a lot of online tools, and self learning is a very important part of our everyday life now. So we have enabled systems, processes, and tools which help our employees to self learn and self report. So it's no longer classroom based trainings. But I feel that once we move out of this virtual world, into some kind of a hybrid or a back to office environment, I feel that's when our challenge will come, because now we are so attuned to virtual learning, self learning. We get to pick and choose what we learn. I feel that our team and so on will still want to retain that after we move out of where we are at this point of time. So again, that is a dynamism that we have to adopt to. And I feel that as long as self discipline is there, as long as we are encourage and motivate our team members, they're able to self learn. And as leaders, we should trust that this thing will work. And each person is different, one size does not fit all. We have to as leaders, we have to cater to see if this person is able to adopt this style of learning, and so on. So basically, it's like looking at each case by case, and to see where people need help. And that's how I think that we can help, or help our teams to increase their learning, and to at least in this the current situation where we are.
Wow, that's a really great insight. Thank you. Yeah, again, empathy, can't agree more, especially in this world. Little bit of a joke. I have a 2 years old daughter, and I can see she learned by herself. So self-learning, she has got all. I think as a human being, we had that availability from the very beginning. She just doesn't have a self-discipline. So,
Right. And it's a matter of trust,
yeah,
right? It's like, do we trust that our team will are capable of learning on their own? We have all the tools, right? We
that's
have like
very
n number of
true.
tools, and we can
She's
make
so
them
confident.
available. Right. It's both ways, isn't it? Mm.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Gita. My next question will go to you, Janelle, from IBM Consulting. Can you share how your organization helped the project managers to continue to upskill and develop their careers? I think you're in a really best position to describe as your PM professional leader for that reason.
Yes, indeed. Yes, no, love to talk about what we do. So at IBM overall, like we foster a whole culture, I guess, of continuous learning. So we've got programs like Think 40, which is about requiring all employees to do at least 40 hours of training a year. And then we've got encouragements to do more. So you get, little badges of being a super learner and gold and silver and platinum and all that sort of thing, just to really encourage everybody, because, we all want to grow and we all want to learn and develop. And, that's going to keep both successful employees, but also happy employees as well. And so for our PMs, we have a series of badges where we start off at the very junior levels with what's called an Explorer badge, and we go right through to our senior complex project managers. And at each of those levels, it's about both learning and it's about demonstrating experiences and capabilities. And basically each one builds on the next as you go through. And when we get up to the higher levels, it actually gets quite formal and it's quite seen as quite prestigious to get some of these higher level badges, and requires, panel interviews and those sorts of things to really say, we really want to make sure that, our PMs are operating at the highest level. Also at those higher levels, we actually require an external certification such as the PMI PMP or ACP. And the reason that we do that is, well, it's great that we can certify our people and we think they're fantastic PMs, but we also want to have that sort of industry backing as well that says, we actually, have people that are accredited out in the industry, not just what we're saying about our people. And with that sort of whole flow of things also, what it does is, because we know if people have certain levels of badges, we know about their capabilities, and we know that, we can put a certain person on a certain type of project because, they've proven themselves that they can do that. So it really helps us to do that. It gives our employees, our project managers, clear view and vision of their path and their career path forward and what they need to do to build on each step as they go. We also encourage other people who aren't PMs to also do some of the more junior badges, because that's our business. Everything that we do when we're delivering is a project. So even our consultants, they need to have some level of project management skills and knowledge. So we also encourage that to go through that as well. And then we underpin all of that also with some of the soft skills type things, some design training, leadership, all of those things fit in. And with these badges as well, we can tailor things, as we've been talking about on this call. The world's changing. There's different skills and different capabilities that people need. So we're continuing upgrading each of the certifications as we go through as the world is changing. So I've sort of got this view. Well, that's really nice. We've trained our people. Well, and we've got some badges, etc. But the other aspect that I'm really focusing on, and it's my own sort of personal thing for this year, is around really growing our mentoring and our coaching of our PMs. So, once you've done the training, you've got some skills. It's actually putting them in that environment where they're being nurtured, where they're being grown, where they're being challenged, but they're being challenged with the right levels of support. So that for me is a really big one. That's on my list of things to do for 2022. And then the final element of our sort of career development program is our community. So we're really trying to really grow our PM communities. I've got a little motto we have, which is 4 PMs by PMs, trying to bring our PMs together to collaborate, work together, share knowledge, be able to call on each other for help just on their peers. And in fact, what part of that community is I run APAC PM Connect calls, and I actually have Annie Sheehan, who's from the PMI, is actually presenting for me in December on the topic of being a change maker. So it sort of fits in very nicely, and it's our way of also, again, trying to keep our PMs growing and increasing their knowledge and I guess moving forward as the world is changing. So that's just some of the things we're doing in IBM for our PMs.
That's just some of it. Wow. I feel, wow, that's a really holistic way of approaches. I can sense that your company at IBM is really encouraging all your staff to learn through the badges, the formal ones, the communities that have for that holistic way of a support. That's really impressive. Thank you for sharing, Janelle. I'd like to switch our gear a little bit first to your individual career path. My first question would be, can you share any significant moment of your growth in your career life? And I can go to Gita first.
Right. For me, it's always about opportunities. I still remember my first opportunity. It's not, I did not get that for my skill. I got it for because someone trusted that I can do the job and helped me, gave me that opportunity as a very young girl who had no industry background or experience. I was given the opportunity here in Singapore by someone I was put on a very, very big project as a project coordinator. It's like the largest investment for my company at that point of time. And they needed a coordinator, and they needed someone who can coordinate, work with multiple people. And this is a very highly technical team of 150 people. And they needed someone to coordinate. I'm a totally non-technical person at that point of time. And this person went against everybody's opinion that what will a non-technical person do, coordinate in this kind of a team. But this person saw that coordination is not about technical skills, it's about people skills. So we need someone who can work with people, right? Now, everything is not about technical capabilities. And this person gave me this opportunity. And as a very young person with no experience, I saw the value of that. And that actually changed my life. And today I run multi-million dollar projects, very, very highly technical projects, things which don't go wrong, right, can be big impact for my organization. But today, I 10 years down the lane, I'm running such big technical projects. But then someone saw that potential in me and gave me an opportunity. Until today, at every year, I give opportunity to at least one fresh grad. And through internship programs and mentorships, I try to give back like that. Until now, I have at least trained 10 people like that, and I feel fulfilled. And whenever I see that man, the person who gave me that opportunity, I still feel grateful. And that's something I feel that I want to share here. When someone does a good to us, we should return back in some way or the other.
That's a beautiful story, Gita. You had the courage to take the opportunity and then break the your own shell and then move
Right.
to the next step.
A lot of I could have failed. I could have given up at a lot of time because the pressure was intense, and people didn't want to work with me. Technical people didn't want to work with me, and every day I had the opportunity to quit and go back and do something that I'll be comfortable with. But I saw that guy's face, who gave me the opportunity. I shouldn't fail him. And that has brought me a long way. Until today, he's my mentor, and I'm glad to share this story today.
Wow, nice. And then I can hear about your relationship and giving back. Thank you. Janelle, would you like to share your significant moment?
Sure. Well, mine's, I guess it's actually more a aha moment of what I was actually doing wrong. So I finally came to the conclusion I'd spent a large part of my career on what I'm going to refer to as a magical mystery tour of basically just moving from role to role. As I said before, I've been in IBM for 30 years, but I never took control of my career, and I just did. I mean, I've had a fantastic career, and I've loved everything that I've done, but it wasn't what I'm going to call intentional. It wasn't like, well, I want to get here, so I'm going to do this role, and that role. It just kind of happened to me, and I just let it happen. And look, it has been a fantastic ride, but only sort of more recently, I finally came to the conclusion, and this is advice now I'm giving to a lot of junior people in the organization, is that actually it needs to be intentional. Your career needs to be, I'm going to refer to the books. I don't know whether you all know the books, the Choose Your Own Adventure stories, where you choose the next step that you're going to take in the story. And so, yeah, I wanted to share that today because I think I haven't sort of taken that on, and now I'm going to, but at a later stage in my career. But for everyone out there, I think that's just a really key takeaway that I've learned the hard way. I have had fun, but perhaps I would have ended up in a completely different place if I had have been much more intentional about it. I am very happy where I have ended up, mind you. But things could have been different. So that's my message: is choose your own adventure.
Wow. Thank you. I just wrote it down, the name of the book, Choose Your Own Adventure. Thank you. In PMI, we used to call it accidental project manager, who was assigned to do the project, but then the career spin off to project manager and so on. But your advice to be intentional, that's really great. Thank you. June, what about
Yes.
story?
Oh, okay. Well, for me, it's definitely given the opportunity to teach. I know people would think that, teaching is safe. It's like a retirement haven. I've heard that so many times. And even before I left my last corporate, posting, somebody just told me, June, lecturing, it's great when you're in your 50s, but, you're still young. That shook me for a while, but I am so glad. Well, no offense to whoever who told me that, but really, sorry to burst your bubble. In teaching, it's also a realization to me. It's a commitment to student. It's really to me a significant moment of growth. Why? Because you have to give the students the most relevant and practical examples, and so it is a continuous learning, and that to me is growth. In the corporate world, it's very easy to be so absorbed in your current work that you forgot to grow because you have a very convenient excuse: I'm so busy, right? But in education, you're not given that option. You have to grow, you have to change so that you bring the best, the most relevant, and the most practical on the table for the student. And like what Gita had said, she would give back to the students at least one a year. So I put in my, application for our student. Hopefully, they made it through the door, under your mentorship. But jokes aside, it's really, that particular commitment that I see is a growth. It's a true growth to me that I'm learning every day when I'm teaching, because I have to. It is a commitment. So that to me, it's a significant moment, which I'm really enjoying right now for the last 6 years teaching in Singapore Poly.
Nice. Actually, you said that that's a significant moment for you, but it's going to be a significant moment for your students as well. So
I hope.
Really all right, we have 2 minutes left, but I'd like to ask you if you can share in maybe 1 or 2 words, what's your secret sauce to continue to learn and grow? Can each of you say a few words, and then we can wrap up the session? So can we go with the Gita?
Right. So what we know is actually nothing.
Oh,
That's the mindset we should have. We absolutely know nothing. Yeah.
And know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Janelle.
So mine is, I think, about seeking out the thought leaders, seeking out people to work with, work under, and tap into them, and yes, take the experiences that they have and then bring them into your own world. So that's my advice. Go find those thought leaders and tap into them.
Absolutely. Thank you. And June?
For me, it's definitely stay close to the future generation, like the students, and stay humble, because people didn't think you can learn from students, but I learned so much from them. In fact, just this morning, I learned something from them again. So stay humble, even if it is with people who are younger than you and reports to you. That's very important. They really have so much to offer to us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your secret sauce. It's no more secret. It's being shared with everyone in the community now. I see a lot of applaud and the heart. So thank you so much for your great speech and the panel insight today. And thank you very much for the audience to stay in this interactive session. So we come to the end of this session, and the next concurrent session will be resumed in 20 minutes time. So take a break and use this opportunity to visit our booth and meet make a new connections with any other project managers that launch. So we will see you again shortly. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.